Classification of receptor: G protein coupled receptor, ligand gated receptor, enzyme linked receptor or nuclear receptor. G protein couples receptor. This is the largest receptor family with over 100 membrane clone to date. G protein, a kind of GTP binding protein with subunit of alpha, beta, gamma. Characteristic: 7 times crossing the plasma membrane. Use G protein as transducer to convey signal to their effector proteins. G protein regulated effectors include enzymes such as adenylate cyclase and phospholipase C and plasma membrane ion channels. Target for G proteins. The main target for G protein through which GPCRs control different aspects of cell function are adenylyl cyclase, the enzyme responsible for CAMP formations; phospholipase C, the enzyme responsible for inositol phosphate and dicycloglycerol DAG formation. आयन चैनल्स particularly कैल्शियम एंड पोटेशियम चैनल्स होते हैं. Ligand gated receptor, also called ionotropic receptor, involved mainly in fast synaptic transmissions. Example: NACHR, glutamate receptor of the NMDA, AMP and कैनानेट टाइप्स. लिगैंड गेटेड चैनल्स के डायग्राम है. एंजाइम लिंक्ड रिसेप्टर, extracellular hormone binding domain and a cytoplasmic enzyme domain. Upon binding, the receptor converts from its inactive monomeric state to an active dimeric state. TPRK, GERDs activated tyrosine residue phosphorylates on each other. Also phosphorylates other SS2PR domain substrate proteins. Ultimately, downstream signaling function. Example: insulin, EGF. Ligand binding, transmembrane और receptor first और receptor second. एंजाइम है. Nuclear biology. In the field of molecular biology, nuclear receptors are a class of protein found within cells that are responsible for sensing steroid and thyroid hormones and certain other molecules. In response, these receptors work with other proteins to regulate the expression of specific genes, thereby controlling the development, homeostasis, and metabolism of the organism. Fourth, regulation of receptors. Receptors exist in a dynamic state and their density and efficiency is subject of regulation by level of ongoing activity and their physiopathological influences. In toxically active system, prolonged deprivation of the agonist result in supersensitivity of the receptor as well as the effector systems. These are clinical relevance and CNS represent withdrawal syndrome. The receptor activity is regulated by two types of process: desensitization of downregulation, supersensitivity of upregulation. Desensitization of downregulation. This leads to reduction in sensitivity of receptor on continued or subsequent exposure to the same concentrate of agonist. Response of beta agonist is bronchodilators is reduced on its repeated use in treatment of asthma. B. Supersensitivity of upregulation. It is the condition in which the sensitivity of the receptor to agonist increases to a chronic reduction of receptor stimulation. This can result of withdrawal of prolonged receptor by use of antagonist. Example: sudden discontinuation of propranolol in angina patients. Upregulation or downregulations. Diagrams.